before the tidal wave. Let us rise from the ashes, reclaim what we've lost in the name of our fathers, no matter what the cost. In the whispers of night, through the cries of despair, our culture is dying, gasping for air. Politician of old, we chose to ignore. Now fear is our shadow, chaos banging at our door. We build homes for the strangers, offer them a sleep cold, no roof over their head. Why must our people suffer, left out in the rain, while strangers we own nothing, lay claim to our domain? Yeah. Our countrymen, our culture we must save, where harmony once stood before the migrant wave. As strangers flood our shores, our ways they turn to bend. For the sake of our children, we'll defend them till the end. Where our women can walk safe, no fear of the shadows, no need to be brave. Where children safely play under the sun's watchful eye, in streets that are safe, where no dangers lie. Listen to the voices in the streets, in the halls. These are the people, their screams and their calls. Leaders take heed, what's truly involved. True leaders' lessons will help and hold. They stand with us now.
Well, Saturday. Right. The next gentleman to speak today is a man I respect, a man that's been slandered, he's faced attacks, and every time I'm standing in my defence, he's defended my name when it would have been easier to take the other route. So, Carl Benjamin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carl Benjamin. You've probably seen me in the media this week being monstered by a politician, given no right of reply, obviously. If I was just a common citizen, then this would be a major problem. Thankfully, I have a media organisation, lunacies.com, and we are guilty of interviewing the former Prime Minister. That was my crime. That's why I'm in trouble. I stand today as just a husband, a father, an Englishman. And I can see that we're still alive. Because by God, you wouldn't know it if you were looking at the TV, would you? Where is your representation? Where are your concerns being made present? And I tell you, man, this country has real problems. Like, I just want to tell you something about me. So, my father joined the RAF at 16 to get out of poverty. Became a sergeant and spent his life just doing desk work, really. It wasn't anything glorious, but it was good, respectable and necessary. And so that meant for my formative years as a teenager, I grew up in Germany, RAF Germany, JHQ. And so I actually know what it's like to live on a colony. A colony has characteristics. It has a certain kind of people who reproduce their own culture, with their own laws, in their own language. It matters that they are different to the other populations around which they live. Now, when we were on the British colony in Germany, it was very obviously a transplant of England to be placed in Germany. When you went from England into Germany, it became very obvious. None of the street signs were in German on the colony. No one spoke. I don't speak a word of German. I lived out for 8 years because I didn't have to. I was surrounded by England in Germany because they lost a war. Now that colony's gone. It's all been disappeared. But the point being that we are seeing the colonization of England now. And I say this from direct experience. We see courts that are not English courts. We see language on the signage that is not English. We see Labour MPs such as Naz Shah campaigning in Urdu for her constituents. This is the sign of colonization. And I say this because this is my experience. I know this firsthand. Nowhere, absolutely nowhere, is an Englishman's concern represented in our own parliament. And yet you have to pay for it. You are paying unbelievable amounts of money to people who are born overseas so they can live in this country. Half of the social housing in London is occupied by people born overseas. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is what is happening to us every day by these people. Because you can't really blame the strangers that they allow to come and live among us. They're just responding to incentives. They're just going to come because we're offering them money. We're offering them a place to live. We're offering these things, why wouldn't they? This should never have been allowed. This is why the country is creaking under the weight of immigration. Everything costs an unbelievable amount. The NHS is failing.
Thanks very much.
Your children will not be able to buy houses. It used to be, when I was a teenager, the average house price was 4 times the national average wage. Now it's 12 times. Demand matters. Demand on the NHS matters. About 10%, 11% of this crowd is probably on an NHS waiting list. It's unbelievable what they're doing to us. And they're doing it because of a fiction. They think this will grow the economy. Well, okay, where is it? Where is it? Everything is falling apart. I live in Swindon, and 5 years ago it was quite nice actually. I know everyone talks Swindon down, but I'm a man of Wessex and I'm going to defend it. Thank you. Swindon is where I live, okay? Shut up, throw me down. But now it looks post-apocalyptic. The street, it looks like there's just a tidal wave of the global nomads. They're not from any one place, they're not any one kind of people. You can't get to know them. There's a myriad different languages, and they're just here because the government thinks one day they'll pay the pensions. They're not going to pay any pensions. When things get bad here, they're just going to piss off, okay? This is our country. We live here. This is the inheritance and patrimony of the English. I want them to hear the word. It's the forbidden word. England. England! Come on! I love seeing the flags. I love seeing the flags. Love it. So, just to conclude, we have real problems. None of the mainstream parties are going to solve these problems. We are going, as Lawrence said, we are going to have to do it ourselves, and we can. But we have to remember, and this is the most important thing, upon the conduct of one depends the fate of all. We stand and fall together. So you have to remember your dignity as an English man and woman is on the line. Act worthy of the respect of your ancestors. Those great and glorious, victorious ancestors of ours are watching. They want us to win. We have to win for our children. This is it. There's no stepping backwards. There's no apologies. It's just forwards. We don't need to worry about any of the media, any of the communists. We don't need to worry about any of them. We just need to take a proper and wholesome message to the British people. We're going to do this. Thank you.
Now I'm here today to support Tommy Robinson because he speaks the truth. Now Winston Churchill said, I'll quote, "Courage is rightly considered the foremost of all the virtues because all of the others depend on it. Without courage, nothing great is possible, and Tommy Robinson is a brave man." Tommy was a political prisoner and he suffers continuing persecution because he speaks the truth and defends those people who cannot defend themselves. And he has been vindicated in everything he said. Some political figures who would not defend him when he most needed them now talk openly about the very things they condemned him for. And you can see them on their YouTube channels and on GB News. Don't forget what they were saying when he was locked up in Belfast. We are becoming a modern totalitarian state where you will be punished for speaking the truth. But now there is no need to put people into concentration camps or gulags. They can be simply cancelled electronically. The people that govern us are traitors. We know that, but what causes them to betray their country and future generations? Governments of whatever party, when they're elected, are controlled by an elite of globalist monopolists. Supranational financial and international corporations, as exemplified by the World Economic Forum. I hear Klaus isn't well. I'm sure you send him your best wishes. Now, the globalist plans is to destroy democratic Western society and civilization, and to create a new feudal society where they are the aristocracy and the rest of us are the peasants and the serfs. Now, voting in this next general election is pointless. We know what we're going to get, a globalist government. But there is one thing that you can do to protest, which I would suggest, which is to write none of the above on the ballot paper. Now, as I said, whoever wins is going to be controlled by the globalists, on whom they depend for funding. If a government disobeys them, funding will be withdrawn. They hold governments hostage in a financial stranglehold. And you don't have to take my word for it, Liz Truss intimated just as much in an interview she did on trigonometry. Go and listen to it. Now, it's taken decades for the globalist plan to mature. The whole of the Western world now faces the same problem. But there are millions upon millions of ordinary, decent people across Europe and the English-speaking world who do not want to live in serfdom and who want their countries and freedoms back. And more are waking up. So what can be done about it? Well, nothing quickly nor easily. But as a first step, Tommy has come up with a brilliant idea, which is to launch a coalition for freedom, movement for cultural change, to rally international support. There will be nothing in his multi-point plan that no right-thinking person or political party cannot support. We might call it a cultural counter-revolution to reverse the cultural revolution of insanity that we've had foisted on us over the last couple of decades. It will be a long struggle, but people are waking up around the world. I have to say to you, however, ultimately, the solutions must be political. Traitorous governments will not reform themselves. The solutions will depend upon political power and political parties, and that can only come through the ballot box. But the desire for truth, freedom and liberty can never be suppressed. Thank you.
Hello, that's better. We up? Thank you, everyone. Look, I know you've given us your time. I know it's been a long day so far. You've all come here. I can't literally stand here and take all the gratitude for making these films because there's a team of us at Urban Scoop. I'd like to thank Aidan, who's put this film together, made it the artistic work that it was. Thank you, bro. And every other volunteer and team member behind the scenes that has worked with us. We've got multiple documentaries in the making, and if you're watching this at home, if you're one of the people who've supported our work at Urban Scoop, whether it be for Panodrama, The Rape of Britain, the Hope Not Hate Expose, Nick Lowell's, the Hope Not Hate Expose, our Irish documentary, or today, you make it possible. So we wouldn't be able to create any of this content if it wasn't for you. Now, let me get this out. If you're watching this at home, I'll talk at the end about the next day we all meet up again, yeah? But if you're watching this, Mark Rowley must resign. You have failed this city. Mark Rowley is responsible for all the scenes that we have seen. The politicised policing, where the Metropolitan Police Force run away from jihadists. They let anti-Semitism out of control every Saturday. They allow crime, they do nothing, and then they smash their truncheons against patriots, members of our armed forces, just trying to pay their respects on Armitage Day. Sign the petition at Mark Rowley. How's about that, eh? ResignMarkRowley.com. Right? Thank you. We've got some more people who want to give you a message. The next lady, someone who I've watched. I enjoy her content. She's brilliant. Let's play her message to you all now, yeah? It's June Slater.
It was a hell of a fight trying to the front door. A fight not to have a new drug put into my arm I knew so little about. Or watch care workers get sacked, 40,000 of them, for wanting to exercise the same caution. I never thought I'd see media figures, celebrities and politicians over-exaggerate claims and effects and benefits of a drug they knew so little about. I never thought I'd see us taxed and fined and have energy prices so high on the road to net zero when countries like China, the biggest offender, are allowed to continue and grow their use of fossil fuels because of a one-line agreement in the Paris Accord. They receive foreign aid from countries like us who are crippling themselves. I never thought I'd see another country's flags waved on the streets of Britain so prolifically as we do right now. And I never thought all my taxes would be sent out to the military-industrial complex to create weapons for other people's wars. Most people I know don't want war. Most people I know want a decent country. We want our needs addressing here. Sadly, neither political party is interested in that. So it's up to us, the people, to draw their attention to our needs, and that's what's happening today. We're trying to get the establishment to realise that people are not going to put up with this. We do not need tyranny. We can run our own lives. We are all individuals with our own dreams and goals. We are not one size fits all. Never give up. We are winning, because it's not just the activists, the bloggers and the protesters. This situation is being discussed in the supermarkets, the taxi ranks and the bus queues. Everybody knows there's something wrong and there's something we can do about it. We are greater in numbers, and once we decide enough is enough, it's enough.
Thank you, Julie. Okay. 703,000 people are currently watching us live. We are the people. This country is a Christian culture. This country is a Christian country. I stopped going to church. Many of the leaders of our churches are out of touch with the people. They've sold us out. They've destroyed their own reputation. I think if every church leader was like the man you're about to hear from today, the churches would be full again.
This thing together, it's a fantastic start of a movement on the 1st of June. I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person. I had a prior engagement, but I'm with you in spirit, because I think this is vital, getting the country together, not just a right versus left issue, but a Britain versus everything else issue. We have seen in this country our values eroded over the past 10 to 20 years, and our faith has been at the core of that. England has always been a Christian country. There will be people that say, no, it was pagan, blah, blah, blah. No, England, since its foundation as a country, has always been a Christian country. And that's important because it's kind of formed who we are as a people. And from our laws to our values, to our culture, to our language, all of it comes from the Christian faith. It's all from that same foundation, you know, such as the common law system that we have, where an Englishman's home is his castle, and we should be free to do as we please as long as we're not breaking a law. We don't have the active law system that they have in the EU and the US, as an example. But what we're saying as we take Christ out of education, academia, our legal system, the courts, parliament, as we take Christ out of all of these things, this tale that we've been told is that we could fill them with secularism, that we could have political neutrality, and that all ideas will be treated equal. But that is a lie. We know that to be a lie. When you take something out, something else has to go in to fill its place. Nature abhors a vacuum. And what we've seen filling that void is Mohammedanism. And Mohammedanism, despite what the liberals tell you, is counter to our way of life. It's contradictory to British values, to Christian values.